son. What's your emergency?
My son's missing. Can you just take me down? I myself last night. I want to
I was studying the Revelation 12 sign that happened on September 23rd, 2017, fulfilling Revelation 12 verses 1 and 2. Then I was listening to the guy Ross on New News, and he was talking about Revelation 12 as well, specifically verse 9 about the great dragon being cast out, focusing on the word beguiling, which means deceiving. I'm a high-functioning autistic. I have what's called Asperger's syndrome, which is a developmental disorder that makes me somewhat transactional in my interactions, also called chameleon disorder by some. I'm not very good in social gatherings. It's exhausting for me. Without going down a rabbit hole about that, I tend to avoid social gatherings. At any rate, guile. Autistics lack guile. I don't have it. I don't plot, and I don't lie. Guile is a deceitful cunning. It's craftiness, having an agenda, and it's always about misleading people. So it's a blind spot for me. At any rate, in Revelation 12, verse 9, the devil who beguiles the whole earth and his angels are cast out into the earth. And Ross at New News was speaking about beguiling, like the serpent beguiling Eve, and it made me ponder if because I lack guile myself, is this why I don't seem to be easily deceived? Then later today I was studying how to fight demonic attack, and the one in particular I was studying was condemnation. And it just so happened that it directed me to look at Revelation 12 again, this time verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. So when a person comes at you, condemning you, seemingly for no reason, you don't have to worry about why or how you can fix it. That's coming from the accuser. Jesus already overcame it for you. Everything today has been directing me to read in Revelation 12. What with everyone watching 9:14, which is today, sorry for the last second timing, but everything is happening so fast now that I can't keep up. We've got Brother Dana watching 9:14, Brett at God's Land Down Under, Repo Man 64, several others, and then the Feast of Trumpets on 9:23 and 9:24, but specifically 9:23 is the number that everyone's really seeing. Think of this, everyone is seeing Feast of Trumpets, but not everyone is seeing the same dates for that feast. What if 9:14 is the date, which is that mystery 10 days, and 9:23 is the time? 9:23 p.m. Israel Daylight Time would make it 23 minutes into the second watch. 23. Let's read through Revelation 12 together. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head was a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered. Those two verses were fulfilled by the Revelation 12 sign in 2017 on 9:23. All right, verse 3, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Those verses read to me like the spirit of Satan and his fallen angels came here on their own already to cause what's referred to as the tribulation of those days, the tribulations that people experienced as the world grows darker, as it was in the days of Noah and in the days of Lot. Remember in verse 4, it said the dragon's tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. It doesn't say that they were cast out of heaven. He did that, the enemy. They've come here to sow division, deception, lies, and break up the church, to devour the church before the rapture happens. I believe this is where we are now, today. We are living through verse 4. Verse 5, And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days, 1,260 days. These two verses read to me like the rapture of the bride, and the rest of the church that gets left behind flees into the wilderness of the first half of the tribulation. Verse 7, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world, and he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Unlike the earlier wording about how the dragon himself used his own tail to draw down or summon down a third of the angels, this time they have been, in a literal sense, unseated and kicked out of the heavenly places down onto the earth. So no longer spiritual influence from on high anymore. Now it's physical. With the restrainer, the Holy Spirit, and the bride gone, things are going to be really, truly awful during the first half of the tribulation. I could hypothesize, but it won't do it justice, and we really don't know. But evil is unrestrained, unhinged, and they know they only have a short time, so they're going to be savage and pull out all the stops. Giants, Nephilim, aliens, zombies, monsters, who knows it? Maybe all of it. Verse 10, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. The tribulation saints have joined the wedding feast as wedding guests at this point. Verse 12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, meaning now both the bride and the trib saints. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. Well, the woman, in this case, which brought forth the man-child, Jesus, in this sequence, would be Israel. Verse 14, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time, there's another 1,260 days, from the face of the serpent. This would be the second 1,260 days, Jacob's trouble. And the woman, the portion of Israel that accepted Jesus Christ as their Messiah, flies away. I don't know if this means they literally sprout wings, or if they are carried by an angelic host to their place of safety during the entire last half of the tribulation, to a place which I believe to be Petra Jordan. Verse 15, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Israel got away, so the dragon turns to slay all that remain. Verse 17, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So, I don't know if this remnant is the blessed are they that make it to the 1335th day crew, or what, to be honest, but whomever it is referred to as the remnant, they are still on the earth. They weren't the bride. They didn't get martyred as a tribulation saint. They survived somehow in hiding, as 2/3 of Israel are slaughtered and are keeping the commandments of God, and they give all the glory of their salvation to Jesus Christ. Will we fly today? Will we fly on the 23rd? Which Feast of Trumpets is the right one? Is it neither? We don't know, but we continue to watch. This is the season. Here's a clip from my previous video about the dates that I'm watching throughout the remainder of the season. All right. I am watching September 15th. That is the end of the Feast of Trumpets as per Brett's calculations, even though I think Feast of Trumpets as per the Essenes happens on 16th and 17th, because there's another aspect of this. Also on the Essene calendar, September 16th is the first day of fall, which means summer is over. Jeremiah 8:20 speaks to people being left behind. Why? Because they weren't saved. Laodiceans, lukewarm, barely believers that had more faith in their own understanding or fashioned a golden calf out of something. If we're still here after September 15th, then I'm watching the Hebrew calendar Feast of Trumpets of the 23rd and the 24th. But I have a radically different understanding. Hear me out. Think and pray on what I am about to say. The door will open and close. It's a heart and a spiritual thing, a Jesus saying, I never knew you thing. I can see the division plain as day using Galatians 5 as my litmus test of fruits versus works, adjusting the lens on Jeremiah 8:20 a bit, and applying it instead to the Feast of Trumpets on the Hebrew calendar instead of the Essene. If people are left behind on Feast of Trumpets, that means two things. The bride already left, and talk about turning a feast into mourning. Okay, looking further out, if we're still here after September 23rd and 24th, if you've watched my videos for any length of time and have heard me talking about the Terry window, you will know that I have a theory about what I call shaking nuts loose from the tree that has me watching 1031 or Halloween, that I suggest is the day the tribulation begins. You can see it here on my timeline. Why I think this: using Apophis as the mid-tribulation anchor and counting backward 1,260 days, that then gave me two anchor dates that I merely had to count 2,520, 2,550, and 2,595 days from to find what I believe to be the first day of the millennial kingdom and everything in between. But there's something Brett and Mike at Repo Man 64 have been talking about: 10 lost days. And I think that that's how Brett came up with his 14th and 15th estimate of the Feast of Trumpets, but I'm not sure. By funny coincidence, the Essene calendar year for this year, 5950, guess how many days are in this year? 355, when there's 365 days in a Gregorian year. I just thought that was interesting to note. So I am also seeing a 10-day discrepancy, but who's to say where that 10-day discrepancy lies? What if the verse about they will throw some of you in jail for 10 days is an allusion to a tarrying of some sort? Tarrying beyond the date we think it is, if that date we think it is turns out to be the right one. God, I believe, uses tarries throughout the Bible to test the faith and endurance and to strengthen people, but also to shake nuts loose from the tree. So using that analogy, say I'm correct. I nailed the day. It's October 31st or November 1st in Israel, and we don't go. But the tribulation starts. I always wondered if there would be a short overlap because of the wording in Luke 21 that says, when you see these things begin to happen, then look up, for your redemption draws nigh. And I also believe Luke is to the bride, Mark is to the tribulation saints, and Matthew is to the Jews. You can watch this study I did here about that. Is the bride going to see the laundry list of things detailed in Luke 21 begin to happen all at once as the sign we were told to watch for? And will that overlap be just 10 days, during which some of us will be thrown in jail, etc., or turned in by friends? It tells us to have faith during that 10 days. What's 10 days after November 1st? It's 11/11, a number I've been seeing everywhere for years. But 11/11 also happens to be the date of the nuclear fission prophecy Philip Barnett says will happen, which I would consider to be the last vision-driven, meaning non-scriptural yet religiously followed, event prophesied to happen within 2025. Will that day be the day? Whomever, were it possible, will be deceived and turn their back on God. Will that be the day that the door will open and close? If you're not a loving person, not loving your brothers and sisters that think differently than you, And all you can muster in your heart is more about, you'll see, when you're left behind, you'll see, I'll be waving down at you. You do not have the heart of a bride. I want to be in heaven with Jesus. I want you to be in heaven with Jesus. The path is narrow, and we are living in evil and deceptive times. Jesus is coming.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!